I want to take this opportunity to say welcome to this lesson of English, Primary 7, and we are in Term 3. Term 3, so it means we are covering what in our workbooks, and we've so far gone as far as page 5 of that workbook. On page 5, we see something to do with structure patterns under the topic environmental protection, the very first topic of term 3. Yes, we have those new words which we call the vocabulary. Then we have another part which is of the structure aspect in the topic. After that, we look at the compression and the composition part. Which composition part I normally say we will cover together at school, because composition from a distance may not be as effective as it would be when we are together at school. So we never reach that part of composition, especially picture compositions, free compositions. I normally prefer that we meet together at school and we go through those compositions together. Rather than staying here and I say, now do this about the composition, it may not work out effectively. So today our focus is on the structures, typically two structures, and these would have, and the other which is as well as. But let's first look at would have. Where would have, the teacher says, is a pattern used when expressing type 3 condition. We use that pattern would have, normally followed by a past participle verb in the type 3 condition, which some of us call if 3, others call it if clause 3, others call it condition 3. Yes, if you have been attending our lessons, the teachers have ever talked about type 3 condition, and they told you if 3 or type 3 condition is used to express an action that was not fulfilled in the past. When you hear that kind of expression or statement, you'll discover or you'll confirm that type 3 deals with the past. In other words, type 3 questions or if 3 questions are normally set in the past. So be careful. Questions are set in the past, therefore it requires you to answer them in condition 3, where you normally use the pattern would have. We are saying we use the pattern above when expressing a type 3 condition. Examples: Juma did not bring a hoe. This is still past, like the teacher has been explaining. Juma did not bring a hoe. He did not dig. He, still past, did not dig. Juma did not bring a hoe. He did not dig the terraces. Rewrite the sentence using, or rewrite the sentences as one using would have. Your answer would come out as, if Juma had brought a hoe, he would have dug the terraces. If Juma had brought a hoe, he would have dug the terraces. And that is our expression in if 3. Would have, as you see here, is followed by a past participle verb from dig, which is dug, that is dug. Then this side of the if clause, we have a past perfect as usual, had brought. It is past perfect in the if clause, then would have plus a past participle verb in the main clause. Would have eaten, would have written, would have sung with you, would have run with you, and so on and so forth. So there are two answers we can come up with in if 3. In fact, there are 3. We are choosing to take only 2 because of space and time. So we can also begin if 3 with had. H-A-D. Yes, had, the helping verb used in the past perfect, can also begin our F3 sentence. And we said, had Juma brought a hoe, he would have dug the terraces. So changes are only happening in the first clause, call it the main clause. Then the if clause, sorry, the main clause will not be affected when we change from if to had. Had Juma brought a hoe, he would have dug the terraces. That's our answer. We said changes only happen in the if clause, the main clause will not be affected. You can begin an F3 sentence with had, just like you see my answer B. Let's look at our very last example in this structure pattern we'll have, which is in F3. Lule did not remove the garbage since it did not have the rake. Lule did not remove the garbage since it did not have the rake. What do? The teacher may not tell you to begin would have, to use would have. The teacher may only tell you to begin if. Common sense. From the teacher's explanation, you remember, he told you if 3 questions are normally set in the past. Lule did not remove. That's obviously past. The garbage. Since he did not have past. If they tell you to begin if, the teacher is indirectly telling you to use if 3. So you see, if Lule, what did we do here? If Juma had got. So we say, if Lule had, another had, why 2 hads that shall explain. If Lule had the rake, a comma, when the if clause begins our sentence, we use a comma before we introduce the main clause. If Lule had the rake, he would have followed by a past participle verb, which is from remove, and that is removed the garbage. And that's the answer. If Lule had the rake, he would have removed the garbage. Teacher, you have 2 hads in your answer, and that is true, there are 2. But there is a reason. 1 is the main verb, is the helping verb. Check this, helping verb. Check this, helping verb. Now after using the helping verb, in the past perfect, you need a past participle verb. From bring, the past participle is brought. Then here, where other verbs you're supposed to have had as a helping verb in F3. Or in the past perfect, let me see. Then after the helping verb, you're supposed to get the past participle verb from the main verb given in the question. Where is the main verb here in this case? The main verb is had. Meaning the past participle form of have is had. Therefore, it's the had we are putting here as our had number 2. That's why we are saying if Lule had the rake, he would have removed the garbage. Had 1 is the helping verb, which is a must in F3. Had 2 is the past participle verb, which is also a must in F3. Had the main verb comes from have. This one, a must have in your answer in F3. So let's go to question, answer B, which begins with the helping verb had. And we say, had Lule had the rake, he would have removed the garbage. Had Lule had the rake, comma, he would have removed the garbage. Meaning, he did not have the rake, therefore, he did not remove the garbage. So that's our answer. That's how you're supposed to approach those questions in F3. I have to repeat this because people normally forget. Normally, our F3 sentences are said in the past. They appear in the past, then they tend to begin if. You obviously know the teacher wants F3. So that's why I can support F3. Maybe, okay, let's see how we can rewrite our sentences with the main clause coming at the beginning. Back to question 1, which is Juma did not bring the hoe. A hoe. He did not dig the terraces. If Juma had brought a hoe, he would have dug the terraces. Then the other way you can say, Juma would have dug the terraces if he had brought a hoe. I repeat, Juma would have dug the terraces if he had brought a hoe. Then number 2, if Lule had had the rake, he would have removed the garbage. Lule would have removed the garbage if he had had the rake. Correct. Let's look at another structure, but before we look at it, let me tell you where the exercise is. Your exercise is on page 5, yes, of the workbook for term 3. Turn to your page 5 of the workbook and you will see the activity. How many questions? Strictly 8. 8 questions, whereby almost one has been answered. Page 5 for the exercise about would have. Now looking at the next new structure, which is using as well as. In the booklets you have something to do with and, meaning this as well as is used to mean the same as and. In other words, where I use as well as is the exact place I'm supposed to use and. Okay, examples. The two poachers killed the elephant and its cubs. The two poachers killed the elephant and its cubs. Some people didn't know that elephants are in the category of animals we call animals in the cow family. So all those animals in the cow family give birth to young ones known as calves. C-A-L-V-E-S. So be careful. A young buffalo is a calf. A young elephant is a calf. A young cow is a calf. A young whale, W-H-A-L-E, is also a calf. And a female one is a cow in all those animals. A female buffalo, cow. A female elephant is a cow elephant. So be careful. Elephants give birth to calves. The two poachers killed the elephant and its calves. Use as well as to mean and. Meaning, where I see and is where I place my as well as. Simple as that. So my answer would be the two poachers killed the elephant as well as its calves, young ones. The two poachers killed the elephant as well as its young ones, its calves. So that's our answer. Yes, so as easy as that. Next, maybe who are poachers? Poachers are people who kill animals or who hunt animals in national parks. They normally do this illegally, and when they are arrested, they can be charged with the crime of poaching. Poachers do poaching as taught in the vocabulary part of our topic a few days ago. A poor drainage system affects not only humans but also the environment. A poor drainage system affects not only humans but also the environment. Use as well as. When use as well as, we don't need these words not only but also. They will not be needed in our answer. So your answer will be a poor drainage system affects humans as well as exercise of as well as the environment. You don't need those words, but also not only a poor drainage system affects humans as well as the environment. That's our answer. That's the way we're supposed to answer that question using as well as. You have your exercise about this work on page 5. Exercise about that work is on page 5. So turn to page 5 and see what it offers to you as far as well as is concerned. After that, we are left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 something is areas to complete this topic. But like I normally say, there are parts where I want you to there are parts that I want you to ignore so that we can meet at school and we discuss them together. Comprehension parts, yes, not good to be taught to you when you're still in that room seated. So let's turn to page 6 and we see it has part of the work that started on page 5, that is an exercise about the use of as well as. Then there is a poem. The poem is under comprehension as the aspect. It is under the aspect of comprehension. So listen and understand how best you can answer these questions about the poem. In fact, there are 2 poems remaining, then the rest are compositions. Let me talk about these 2 poems. Yes, and then we'll call it a day. We have to read the poems with great care. Like normally, we say read the poem below carefully and answer the questions that follow in full sentences. Then, you obviously have to answer the questions in full sentences. Then one thing you need to master about comprehension is normally the way you approach the poem is almost the same way you approach the advert, the passage, but these things are the ones you need to bear in mind. We have to read a lot. People who are not careful, people who have the phobia of reading, the moment they say reading time, those people who have that fear for reading may not easily pass comprehension. You need to calm down and read when you're composed. What do you do when you read the questions? You read the questions, underline the source of your answers. I always sing this song. You always require to underline the source of your answers. For example, if my question is what's the title of the poem, let me go back and I underline neatly so I can write the title the right way. The other thing I want to say about the title is you have to write it in capital letters. Yes, there are other ways of writing the title, yes, but for us we prefer capital letters because I think it is the easiest. What's the title of the poem? This question requires you to answer in full sentence. This is question 2 about that poem on page 6. This is question 2. The title of the poem is blah blah blah. Then you write that very title in capital letters. For example, if the title of the poem is Plant More Trees, I will say the title of the poem is, I now turn to my capitals, Plant More Trees. When we write the title, are we supposed to put a full stop or no? We are not supposed to put a full stop. If the title appears as a single word answer, not in full sentence, I mean. But if this title is part of a sentence, you are supposed to write it and punctuate it, because you are not punctuating the title, you are punctuating the sentence. You have to be careful to know that the title of the poem is Plant More Trees. If the teacher asks me to write the title of the poem, I will just write this: Plant More Trees. The moment you risk and you put a full stop here, you sacrificed your answer. The teacher will not allow you to get any mark about that. So be careful. This is for a full sentence, just for giving or suggesting a title for the poem. So those are important things to bear in mind as you write your answers. Okay, let's look at question 5 as well about this poem on page 6, where the teacher is asking you to write another word, or not a group of words. Write another word to mean the same as flora. These ones were explained in the vocabulary part. Then B, fauna. It was also explained in the part of the vocabulary, so you can always refer to the vocabulary to get the answers to these. But I want only one word. When you're writing that one word, you don't need any capital letter. You don't need any full stop. Full stops are used in abbreviations and at the end of affirmative and negative sentences. When you look at this, it's not an abbreviation, that's one. It's not an affirmative sentence, that's two. It's not a negative sentence, therefore, there's no need for you to put a full stop. Let's be careful. The rest, I've told you, underline the source of your answer, then write according to the tense. Write according to the tense. Picture composition on page 7. Yes, please leave it. We will meet at school and we talk more about that. The free composition, or the, yes, it is a free composition on page 8. Leave it, we'll meet at school and we'll get the details. Question, no, not question. Page 9 has another poem. Yes, the teacher said a lot about the poems. So the same tricks you're using on page 6 about on the poem on page 6 should be applied to the poem on page 9, which goes up to page 10. Which word in the poem has been used to mean the same as flames? I read the poem, but I discovered the word flames. Yes, in the poem, I think it is not in the poem, but there's a word in the poem that was used to mean flames, and that should have been tongues, I believe. Tongues. Therefore, you write my tongues as well in small letters, if possible, with even quotation marks, because this is question 4 about your poem on page 9. Question 4 is, which word in the poem has been used to mean the same as flames? And your answer will be the word in quotes. The word tongues in the poem has been used to mean the same as flames, still in quotes. You maintain those quotation marks. Lastly, number 10. Number 10. Draw a diagram to illustrate stanza 2 of the poem. You read stanza 2. After mastering whatever is in stanza 2, then you draw a diagram illustrating it. Let me read stanza 2 with you. On page 9 of your workbook. My poem on Tuesday began, red tongues of fire leaked high and higher from the smoking Edna's top. The teacher wrote a little note. Remember, capital letter. Red tongues of fire. If it is a tongue of fire, it should be a flame. From the smoking Edna's top. Yes, from the smoking Edna's top. If it is from the smoking Edna's top, it means Etna was a mountain. Yes, I'm trying to show you what you should draw. Etna was a mountain, probably a volcanic mountain. Yes, a volcano. Yes, I think Etna is a volcano in Italy. Yes. So, if the word tongues has been used to mean flames, then the teacher is talking about a volcano, smoking, then you are going to draw a diagram illustrating that. It's unfortunate you have no space under question 10. They only put a dash, which means I'm driving you back to the poem itself. When you go back to the part or the page where there's the poem, you will see page 9, and there's a lot of space here. So this space should be enough for you to draw the illustration for stanza 2 of that poem. Answer the rest of the questions as you have always been guided by the teacher, so that next time we meet and talk about the last topic of term 3, P7. That is ceremonies. Under ceremonies, we'll be talking about the subtopic as marriage. So this is the end of our lesson. We meet next time to talk about ceremonies and marriage in particular as our subtopic. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.